Welcome to Spaghettimoon's Basics of Bezier Curves. This tutorial aims to get you comfortable with the concepts and uses of, well, some of the uses of Bezier curves. They're called Bezier curves, or Bezier curves, because they were mainly publicised by an engineer in the early 60s called Bezier, who used mathematics of Bezier curves in his designs. They're also developed earlier by Paul Castorjal in '59. They worked in car manufacturing companies doing designs. To avoid all the heavy math, let's just settle for an explanation that they work by using mathematics to interpolate smooth curves between points. I refer to these points as CVs, standing for control vertices. They're commonly known as points as well. So let's get straight in there and make a Bezier curve. Get rid of this cube, go to spacebar, add curve, Bezier curve. Right, well now you might be thinking that the definition isn't actually so different from what subdivided polygons may do, and essentially you're not really wrong, but the one thing I haven't mentioned so far is that on top of using the control points and the difference between mathematic interpolation and subdivision interpolation, that we also have these on the control points we've got handles, and these in turn control the Bezier curves the same way that these control point or CVs do. These make Bezier curves very fun and versatile because the curve follows points. We can alter how the curve appears even further. For example, you can move the curve using the point, but you can also affect the way the curve kind of looks and interpolates using these handles. There are four types of curves that you can use, or I mean not curves, handles, and you can toggle between certain ones using hotkeys. The first one we can use is free, which is pretty much you press H to change to free, and you'll notice that that handle I've got selected actually goes black. Now we need both handles to be free for a good example. What free really means is that each handle is independent of the other, because normally they travel in a straight line. If you notice that with both those handles free, you can see that they don't actually travel in a straight line, they're completely independent of each other. The other one that you can use is, if I select them all, press H again, and you can change them to aligned. These handles pair and always travel in a straight line. The next one is vector. Vectors sort of when I said travel in a straight line for the aligned, I meant the actual handles travel in a straight line. That doesn't make the curve. But what the vector does is actually the handles always travel in a straight line, are good for making sharp turns in a curve. You can if you press Shift H, you get automatic curves. Yes, that's an automatic curve, alright. And what they do, they're sort of designed to give you the smoothest possible curve that you can get. And that's pretty much all. That the handles aren't free; they have to be along a straight line. And that's pretty much, they're all the curves that you can use. And if you notice, each handle has a different colour when you go through them. See, for vector you've got green, for free you've got black, for aligned you've got sort of pinky colour, and for auto I think that's sort of pink as well. I don't know. Oh no, it's yellow. Why have all these different handles? Well, it comes down to modelling certain things. You may want a more defined or clinical transition of the curve that we see in a vector, or even a very free and especially wiggly curve that can be attained with a free curve. It's all specific to whatever you do. For any reason you might want to close up your curves, so that's very simple. You just select your curve and press C to close it, and you'll notice that when it closes it becomes a surface, so you can actually see it the areas shaded in with grey. So if it's a surface, you can warp it in the 3D viewport. Well, you have to actually go into the buttons panel in the edit context and change this little button here to 3D, and you'll notice that these little twizzle bits come up, and that means you can actually, it gives your curve an extra dimension, because normally you can only move them in 2 dimensions. If that was off, you'll notice that snaps back to being 2-dimensional, and if I try and move it along the Z-axis, it doesn't move at all. So for now, I suppose the best practical application of a 2D curve is sort of typographic design or logo design. If you wanted to join curves together, I'll just unclose our curve by pressing C. You can close it as a toggle. But if you wanted to join curves together, I'll add another one to make an example. Oops. Put it here. You'd select your CVs you want to join together, and then you would press F. And if you wanted to have, say, a separate curve that's a separate object, you'd actually have to make it a part of the curve you want to join. So if you select them both, use the Control J command to join the curves. When you go into edit mode, if you select the CVs you want to join up, use the F tool again, and you've got them connected again. So they have to be part of the same object or entity. Deleting CV curves and segments is fairly simple. If you wanted to delete just a single CV, just press the delete key or X, and then you click on selected. Deleting a segment is a bit more complex, but not very. You just click the CVs that define the segment, which is this curve here, and when you go click delete, instead of clicking selected, you click segment, and you've got the CV there, which isn't much use at all really, unless you wanted to join it up to another CV. And obviously to delete it all, you'd press A to select a lot of them and delete them. Delete all, even. Resolution is the last aspect that I'm going to talk about. This little integer over here affects the... let's select all. Affects the... how complex the curve appears. If you see here, when I reduce the resolution, it's kind of hard to see on such a small curve. If you see there, that the curving that you can see isn't actually as smooth as it was before when I was see, if you pump up the resolution, you can see that it actually goes down, which what resolution does, the lower you have it, the fewer points there are to define the interpolation between our CVs. The higher there's more curvature and so on. The simple reason for a low resolution is that you're working with a complex scene, and the last thing you need is more memory intensive operations on top of all the other things in your scene. So it's good to work with a low resolution, and you can always pump it up when you need it. And that's pretty much it for Bezier curves. The next tutorial concerning Bezier curves, I'll show you how you can use them to make some really great and interesting geometry with some good practical application.